To say that there are mixed feelings about The Last Jedi is a bit of an understatement. So far, critics seem to love it. The audience, maybe not so much. I mean, don't get me wrong, some people did love it as well, some people in the audience, not just critics. But there's definitely a split. I made a video here on my channel about the things I didn't like about the movie, and some people came in strong defense of my thesis, let's say, while some people called me an idiot because they think this is the best Star Wars movie. Now, I'll give them some credit, okay? I don't think I made the best point in that video watching it back. It was a pretty successful video for my small channel, but watching it again, I'm like, yeah, no, I can see why some people wouldn't be on board with these arguments. Like, namely, the thing about the ships not being able to, the First Order ship not being able to get to the Rebellion ship, and the whole issue about inertia and fuel and all that. I think I messed that point up. What I was trying to say is that that whole conflict of the pursuit in space didn't work for me. And the rules given as to why that situation is happening, it just didn't fly with me. But that is really a tangent. I did say in the video that that was a minor nitpick. There is, however, one major thing I think could have been done to the screenplay to fix, I think, most complaints people had about this movie. One scene, I think in one scene, they could have turned this around. And what we needed to see in The Last Jedi is Luke and Kylo Ren arguing about the Jedi. That is the main thing that was missing from this film. Think about it. Having Luke and Kylo Ren arguing about the ways of the Jedi, the best way to use the Force, whatever, would establish three very important things that were missing in this film. One is that we get to see exactly how Luke lost his faith in the Jedi way. Luke drops some hints in the movie, which I, by the way, found very interesting, that he realizes now that the truth is not as black and white as the Jedi versus Sith conflict made it out to be. There's some shades of gray in the middle. This has been more explored in the expanded universe of Star Wars, but as we know, when Disney bought Lucasfilm, they scrubbed all of that out of existence. None of that is canon anymore. So very few things were left standing. I haven't dug deep into the new expanded universe to see if this is still a thing. Gray Jedi are still a thing. Let me know in the comments if it is. But this is something that was missing in this film. Luke saying that the Jedi basically had it wrong feels like an unearned conclusion because we don't know how he got there. He's just saying this. It's interesting. I did like that aspect, but I want to understand more. Why do you think this? Why are you saying this? Basically, we don't know how he arrived there, and I would have liked to see this. I would like to hear the argument. Showing Luke and Kylo Ren arguing about the Jedi, the Force, the Sith would also let us know how exactly Kylo Ren turned to the dark side. And in these films, all we really hear is, oh, they wanted more power. They are evil and they turned to the dark side. They were tempted, they turned. We don't really see the why, the how. And I'll give you this, when Lucas tried to do this with the prequels, he kind of messed it up a bit. But I still think it's worth another shot. This whole, oh, he turned to the dark side because he wanted more power, it's a little stale. It's just a blah justification, you know? To me, anyway. There's no nuance. I think that if we saw the two of these arguing about the Jedi, about the Force, and hearing really good, a really interesting back and forth between the two, I think it would make more sense as to why somebody with such promise would turn to the dark side without the cliche response that they wanted more power. They just wanted more. I mean, it's true. I guess it kind of works for some people. I feel like I need to know a little bit more than just that, because I've heard that explanation before. More importantly, a scene showing the two of them having a falling out about the philosophies of the Jedi way would give us a better understanding as to why Luke would write the kid off. I mean, think about this for a second. Luke managed to turn Vader around. Darth Vader, like Space Hitler, the evilest guy in the galaxy. He managed to bring that guy back to the light. So to hear him say, you know what, Kylo turned to the dark side, that's it, I guess I gotta kill him now. What? That doesn't make sense. You're the same guy that brought Darth Vader back. I floated this idea to some of my Star Wars loving friends, and they said, well, you know, it's different because Darth Vader was Luke's father, so that's why they had that connection. That's what... Okay, first of all, you're forgetting that Kylo Ren is Luke's nephew, so there's also a family connection there. But not only that, but he's a nephew that he actually saw being born, and he saw him grow. He would, I would argue, had a much closer connection to Kylo Ren than he did to Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader. He just knew the guy was his dad. There was nothing more. He felt there was goodness in him. But to use the family argument here, I think it doesn't work that well. I also think that showing the conflict between the philosophies that these two characters held would give Luke's decision to confront and maybe kill Kylo Ren a little bit more weight. I think it would make a little bit more sense because we would see why he got to the conclusion that this was necessary. Without that, all we have is one guy basically saying, well, he had it coming, I had to do this. He was gonna turn evil, so I had to fucking pull the trigger, so to speak. Ultimately, that's the main problem I have with The Last Jedi. We have these two characters that have a massive conflict, a conflict so great, in fact, that ended their relationship and turned them into enemies. And this is a massive narrative point in this whole story, this whole saga, but we're just told what happened. And I'll give them credit. They showed Luke's version of what happened, and then Kylo's version. Actually, it was inverted. They showed Kylo's version of what happened, then Luke's version of what happened. So I'll give them credit there. We did see a little bit, but it's still filtered through the perspective of these two characters, showing they're telling the story that obviously suits their point of view better. I would have preferred to see that and to make my own conclusions as to who exactly was right, who was wrong. That maybe Kylo Ren was slighted by Luke. Maybe Luke did really screw up. We're told that he screwed up. He screwed up as a master, but what exactly did he do? Can you answer that? What did he do? He failed Kylo Ren. How exactly? We don't know that. And maybe I just want to know more than is needed for the story to work, but it felt unearned. Luke turning on his nephew and trying to kill him feels unearned. The guy who turned Darth Vader to the light, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And if we had to trim that whole Casino Planet scene, maybe all of it, I think the movie would have been better for it. That's the thing that really grinds my gears here, is the fact that we weren't given more backstory, more context about these two characters in favor of a dumbass subplot with characters we don't care about that goes nowhere. That literally goes nowhere. It reeked of prequel trilogy. You can't tell me I'm wrong about this. That scene was so out of place. The tone was all over the place. It was ridiculous, and the movie would have benefited from cutting that entirely, that whole subplot that goes nowhere, and showing us more development. What exactly happened? How exactly did Luke fail Kylo Ren? Why did he turn? He's just evil. He just wants more power. That's a crappy justification for my money. Anyway, that's how I feel this movie could have been improved with one scene. One 10 to 20 minute scene, I think, would have done a great job establishing this backstory. I think people wouldn't have complained so much about the way Luke was behaving if we saw a little more context to what he was doing. It just felt really out of place. If you watch Return of the Jedi, which I will plainly admit, my favorite Star Wars movie, that was my Star Wars movie when I was a kid, I fully admit that it was the worst of the original trilogy. If you see Return of the Jedi, and then you go right into seeing Luke again in The Last Jedi, that's not the same character. You cannot tell me that's the same character. And sure, he went through some stuff in between, but you gotta show me this. You can't just tell me, you gotta show me that. But that's how I think The Last Jedi could have been improved by one scene. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Am I wrong again? Because I heard a lot of that in my last video on The Last Jedi. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.